Shri Gurubhyo Namaha children. We welcome to our online teaching academy Ekalaiva. In our previous class we discussed about some social reformers. Today we are going to discuss about Hindu revivalism. In that we are going to discuss about Swami Dayanand Saraswati and Arya Samaj, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Swami Vivekananda, and also we are going to discuss about Theosophical movement. In that first we are going to discuss about Swami Dayanand Saraswati. In Punjab, the reform movement was headed by the Arya Samaj, which was founded by Swami Dayanand Saraswati. Swami Dayanand Saraswati later settled in Punjab to preach his ideas. His book called Satyartha Prakash enjoyed wide circulation. The positive principles by Swami Dayanand Saraswati were strict monotheism, that is worshipping one God, condemnation of idolatry, and rejection of Brahman domination of ritual and social practices. He also rejected superstitious beliefs in Hinduism, especially Puranic literature, and his cry was to go back to Vedas. The primary achievements of the Arya Samaj were in the field of social reform and spread of education. The Samaj started many Dayananda Anglo-Vedic schools and colleges for the benefit of students. Next, we are going to discuss about Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa emphasized the spiritual union with God through practices such as singing bhajans, and he is an ardent worshipper of goddess Kali. He declared that the manifestations of the Divine Mother were infinite. In his view, all religions contain the universal elements which, if practiced properly, would lead to salvation. He said, Jiva is Siva, which means all living beings are God. Next, we are going to discuss about Ramakrishna Mission. In this picture, you can see his preaching. God is everywhere, but he is most manifest in man. So serve man as God. That is as good as worshipping God. Now we are going to discuss about Ramakrishna Mission. Ramakrishna's primary achievement was his ability to attract educated youth who were dissatisfied with the rational orientation of religious reform organizations such as the Brahmo Samaj. So after his death in 1886, his disciples organized themselves as a religious community and undertook the task of making his life and teaching known in India and abroad. The chief spirit behind this task was Swami Vivekananda. Vivekananda established the Ramakrishna Mission, which involved in social causes such as education, healthcare, and relief in times of calamities. The organization mainly propagates the Hindu philosophy of Vedanta, that is Advaita Vedanta, and four yogic ideals Jnana, Bhakti, Karma, and Raja Yoga. Next, we are going to discuss about Swami Vivekananda. Narendranath Datta. He was later known as Swami Vivekananda, and he was the prime follower of Ramakrishna Paramahansa. An educated youth, he was drawn to Ramakrishna's message. He advocated the practical Vedanta of service to humanity. He emphasized a cultural nationalism and made a call to Indian youth to regenerate Hindu society. His ideas bred a sense of self-confidence among Indians. He became famous for his addresses on Hinduism at the 1893 World Congress of Religions in Chicago. Many of the youth who were involved in the militant nationalist struggle during the Swadeshi movement following the partition of Bengal were inspired by Vivekananda. Next, we are going to discuss about the theosophical movement. During the 19th century, Hindu religion and culture were being discredited in the West, especially due to missionary propaganda. However, some Western intellectuals looked to the East for spiritual salvation as a remedy to the materialistic orientation of the West. The Theosophical Society was founded by Madame H. P. Blavatsky, you can see in the picture, and Colonel H. S. Olcott. They played a very key role in this. It was founded in the USA in 1875. It later shifted to India at Adyar, Chennai in the year 1886. Theosophical Society stimulated a study of the Hindu classics, especially the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. The Theosophical Society also played an important role in the revival of Buddhism in India. Western interest in Hindu scriptures gave educated Indian Hindus great pride in their tradition and culture. Now we are going to discuss about the contribution of Annie Besant. In India, the movement became further popular with the election of Annie Besant in the year 1847 to 1933. This is the period of Annie Besant. She was elected as president after the death of Olcott for this Theosophical movement. She played a role in Indian nationalist politics and formed the Home Rule League, demanding home rule to India. She spread theosophical ideas through her newspapers called New India and Commonweal. Next, we are going to discuss about some anti-caste movements led by Jyotiba Phule, Narayana Guru, and Ayanpally. First, we are going to discuss about Jyotiba Phule. So, Jyotiba Govindrao Phule, he opened his first school for untouchables in the year 1852 in Pune. He launched the Satya Shodhak Samaj to kindle the non-Brahmin masses to self-respect. And he is chiefly known as the earliest leader of the non-Brahmin movement. He opened the first school already here we discussed for untouchables in Pune. And Jyotiba Phule opposed child marriages and he supported widow remarriage, which was prohibited particularly among high caste Hindus. Jyotiba and his wife Savitribai Phule devoted their lives for the uplift of the depressed classes and also women. He opened orphanages and homes for widows. His work called Gulamgiri, which means slavery, it is an important text that summarized many of his radical ideas. Next, we are going to discuss about Narayana Guru. Born to poor parents in Kerala, Narayana Guru, his period was from 1854 to 1928. He evolved into a poet and scholar in Malayalam, Tamil, as well as Sanskrit. In his days, the people of depressed classes had no access to temples, streets, public tanks and wells, and educational institutions. Men and women belonging to lower caste, they were not allowed to wear the upper garment. Disturbed by this terrible caste tyranny that the lower caste people suffered, he dedicated his whole life for the betterment of the oppressed. He set up Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yoga, an organization to work for the upliftment of the depressed classes. He established a grand temple at a place called Arivipuram and he dedicated it to all. Next, we are going to discuss about Ayan Kali. He was born in 1863 at a place called Venganur in Thiruvananthapuram. The discrimination he faced as a child turned him into a leader of an anti-caste movement in the future. He later fought for basic rights including access to public spaces and entry to schools. Ayankali challenged many caste conventions such as clothing style. He wore clothes associated with upper caste that were prohibited for lower caste. He rode on ox cart, challenging the ban on untouchables from accessing public roads used by caste Hindus. Inspired by Sri Narayana Guru, Ayankali founded the Sadhu Jana Paripalana Sangam in the year 1907, which campaigned and raised funds to educate the lower caste people. Okay, children, today we discussed about Hindu revivalism and some people who fought for anti-caste to eradicate untouchability and all. Tomorrow we will be discussing about Islamic reforms. Thank you very much, children.